This is Grapplers Talk.
What is up, fans of Grapplers Talk? This is Dave coming at you with another episode each and every week. Sorry for the delay this week in getting this released to you guys, but have a lot going on in the world, in my life. I just want to say happy anniversary to my wife. It was our 5-year wedding anniversary weekend, and a lot going on, but we're here, and before we get started in this week's episode, I just got to say thank you to our sponsors over at Spar Bar Soap. Some of the best after training and before training soap that you can use, all handmade here in the United States. An amazing company. I'm loving everything that they're doing. Go check out Spar Bar Soap. Do me a favor. Go like and follow them on Instagram. Go follow them on Facebook. Like their page. Order some Spar Bar Soap. And if you use code word Grapplers Talk, you'll get 10% off of your order at Spar Bar Soap. Also, check out our friends over at Butterfly X out in Texas. They are doing some amazing things, putting out the best quality rash guards and gis out there. Shout out to my boys over there, Marshall and Justin, and keep doing what you guys are doing. Go check out their website, bfxgear.com. Use code word GrapplersTalk10 and you will get 10% off of your order over there. Thank you again to our partners. We appreciate you guys so much. Everything that you guys do for the podcast. Truly, we wouldn't be able to continue doing this thing, and the motivation and having you guys on board with the team. We truly appreciate everything you guys bring to the table. And man, I'm just excited. This week we recapped CJI, and wow, man, CJI was it was it was a very controversial thing. I've heard a lot of good things. I've heard a lot of bad things. I'm here just to talk about a couple highlights, a couple good moments. First of all, I thought that the production value and everything they brought to the table for this only being their second event was just amazing. And for them to be partnered with Flow Grappling and the views that were on jiu-jitsu this past weekend were just amazing. And if you're a fan of the sport, regardless the outcome of the tournament, regardless how you felt about certain matches or certain matchups, if you're a fan of the sport, you just got to be happy with seeing how big the art of jiu-jitsu is growing. And I love seeing it personally. Being a jiu-jitsu practitioner since 2005, it really means a lot to me seeing how many people are training nowadays and seeing these gyms full of people and new people to the sport that really, may have never heard of it. Maybe they have no desire to fight or anything like that, but we're putting eyes on the sport. And, first of all, I got to say thank you to my friend Chris for doing that last breakdown with us. We had a good time. If you go back and check out our last episode, we were breaking down the matchups, breaking down the teams. One of the biggest highlights of the entire weekend, not only Master Worlds was amazing. We saw a lot of good competitors compete. Jiu-Jitsu Con, I seen my Instagram feed was blown up with great podium pictures. There was tons of people on the podium at Jiu-Jitsu Con and at Master Worlds. And shout out to all those competitors. We had some guests on the podcast and even future guests on the podcast that won and did an amazing job. So first of all, shout out to all of them. You know who you are. There's too many to name, but a lot of friends of the show were out there. And, one of the biggest highlights of the weekend, in my opinion, was none other than, having the girls go at it. And we noticed in that bracket, I said it on the podcast, I felt like Helena and Sarah Galval were going to definitely make it to the finals. Now, I was very confident with that. When it actually happened, I was blown away, and shout out to both young ladies for their performance, for really stamping the name of jiu-jitsu into it. But like they were the youngest competitors, and having both of them in the finals, and it was just truly a special matchup. I've said it before. I think those girls are going to go at it many, many times through their career. We'll probably see them going at it for the next 10 years. So shout out to both young ladies on amazing performances. Sarah stole the show the first night of CJI with just a dominating performance. And, you know, there was a lot of talk of Helena's her pigtails or whatever you want to call them, her ponytails in her hair, getting in the face of Adele Fornerino, and it was I thought it was distracting, but the ref did correct it. I don't know why it took him so long to correct that, but I'm sure, you know, I'm sure Adele, like, she was battling through it no matter what. So I'm sure if she had a bigger problem, she could have complained earlier and got that taken care of. But shout out to both the young ladies. That was one of the best matchups of the weekend. I loved it. I loved seeing every bit of that. And you know, now the biggest thing was day one, and I know a lot of people are upset. The submission rates were very, very low compared to some of the matchups and some of the predictions that a lot of people thought. I thought the matchups were interesting, and there was a lot of questions going into day two, but day one of the biggest things is we had two competitors that claimed they didn't tap, and I think there was only a total of 3 submissions. So that is huge. Out of 3 or 4 submissions on day one, okay, we got 2 of them that are either Brazilian taps, phantom taps, whatever you want to call them. It was insane. But Giancarlo Berdoni, you know, he definitely contested that. A lot of people went back and forth. My opinion, it kind of did look like a tap, but I told somebody this. I said, I feel like if you're getting your leg broken off, you're going to tap way more than once to get that, you know, lock broken. So I don't know if it was 100% a tap. I don't know if that was his intentions. It did look like it. I think a lot of that was crowd influence. I think the referees did get inspired by the sound of the crowd and people getting worked up over different things. But you never know what's going to happen in jiu-jitsu, and that's kind of the risk you take, getting in that leg lock situation. Sometimes it could go from bad to really bad in a brief second. So you know, shout out to all the competitors. You know, it was definitely an interesting day one, and I don't know if it was nerves. I don't know if it was all the eyes on the show. I don't necessarily know what it was that caused the reaction and maybe some stalemate matchups. I have heard a lot of people talking about the format and the team format, to be specific, and you know, it is a newer thing that's coming around, the quintet style. This was a modified quintet rule set, and you know, it's an experiment, and I don't have a problem with trying new things out in jiu-jitsu, trying to make it a little bit more interesting. I think that the people that are innovating the sport, whether it be with a CJI wall or pit, or if it's the UFC style format or different things, I don't care what it is. I think that we gotta attempt things, and we gotta try things out that we think that are gonna advance jiu-jitsu. And until we try them out, we really don't know how well they're gonna work. And you know, with that being said, it's an interesting factor. Like, how do we try new things? How do we try to move the sport forward if you know, we don't experiment in competition and we don't try new things out there and put it out in front of the world? I never thought millions of eyes would be on a competition like what it was, and truly it shows how much jiu-jitsu has grown. I don't know who's really to thank for this. I don't know if it's more UFC. I don't know where the big push came, but jiu-jitsu is an amazing art, and it will change your life. It'll make you a constant problem solver. You'll figure out how to solve problems in life. You'll figure out how to solve problems in your marriage and your relationships, whatever it is. But you're constantly advancing and learning how to overcome the obstacles. And it's something that we don't look at enough in the sport. We look at it as like, oh, we're trying to make it a mainstream sport, but it still is a martial art, and there is an art form to it. And, you know, it's mind, body, and spirit. If you look at some of the old martial arts aspects of things, you realize that there's a lot more to it. But let's talk about day 2. Day 2 was interesting. A lot of people were worked up over the Hanato interviews. Tom DeBlas got real awkward during that conversation. And I think that with that being said, like, was it too far? I don't know. I think that comedy has a place, and I think that you know, in a comedy club, that's why you can get by with those things. I don't know if on YouTube it goes over as well, or in a live audience situation like it was. I think that's where a lot of people had the problem. But it seems like Tom DeBlas had no issues with the interview being said. And I know everyone knows what I'm talking about. There was a couple awkward interactions with Jocko, but Jocko seemed to have a good take on everything. He was laughing along, and as awkward as it was, it still was pretty funny. And Gabby Garcia, now that girl is something else. She was a very entertaining person throughout CJI. And her interview with Hanato was pretty funny too, calling out Gable Stevenson and everything for the turf toe. And that kind of injury is a crazy injury. The reason I say that is because I just got a turf toe. Now, it hurts for a couple days. That's the reality of it. But can you still compete with it? Absolutely. And was there something involved with Gordon? I don't know. I don't really care, but they made it happen no matter what. The funny thing about that whole Chael Sonnen and Craig Jones thing, man, the 2 buggy chokes, that was, a lot of people thought that was faked, staged, rigged. I haven't heard anything, but I think it was legit. I think that old school guys, wrestlers, heavy pressure guys don't understand the buggy choke enough. And shout out to a good friend of the show and former guest, Austin Hart, the inventor of the buggy choke. I know he was cheesing and probably going crazy seeing those buggy chokes in CJI. And it's pretty funny. Chael was a trooper, and he went out there. He showed up after calling Real American Freestyle Wrestling, saved CJI main event, if you will. I don't know if he necessarily saved it, having a 25, 30-second match, but there was some entertainment value, and we got to look at that. By far, Craig Jones's walkout and little skit that he did before the show was very funny. His skits that he did throughout the show were very funny, and he's just a character. He's a character. Him and Gabby are doing their thing and really trying to advance the sport of jiu-jitsu. Now, the interesting thing about day 2, there's a lot to unfold here. I wish I had Chris here with me to unpack all of this with us. But with day 2, Craig Jones stepped it up. A lot of people were complaining online about the lack of submissions. And so Craig Jones said, all right, lack of submissions, let's do this. Okay, $50,000 if you submit somebody. Well, that changed all of day 2. There was a bounty involved. And when you see those types of things happen, $50,000 is a lot of money. And, I mean, let's play it like this. You know, a guy like Victor Hugo had a couple submissions. So $100,000, you know, or even if you pull off 4 or 3 submissions, I mean, you're looking at life-changing money, you know, on one night of jiu-jitsu. So, and if you say it's not life-changing, it definitely is. How often can you make $200,000 in a matter of seconds? okay, 200 grand or 100 grand or 50 grand in a matter of seconds doing what you do every single day in the training room. It changes things, okay? No matter if you want to admit it or not, like, it definitely does, not to mention the $1 million cash prize. So, with that being said, like, it's gonna, the competition's gonna get up. Everyone's gonna be trying to make a little bit of extra cash, and we saw it. Now, the decisions and the way the rule structure was set up was a little bit unique. Chris and I talked about the rule structure on how they were scoring team matchups, and if there were no submissions, double elimination, and if everything was a tie at the end, how it was going to work out. Now, we saw B Team and New Wave go at it. A lot of people thought that was going to be the finals regardless. It ended up being that. I thought Team Atos was going to step it up a little bit more. They had a good performance, but they couldn't get it done. Now, with that being said, I also shout out to my boy from Australasia for going out there with the broken foot and competing and doing his thing. That is not an easy task to complete. But New Wave and B Team in the finals, okay? It was a good finals. It was very interesting, very close, okay? The coaching on the sides, Nikki Ryan against Mr. John Danaher, they both know each other very well. Now, sending the guys out the way they did, it was very interesting. And the $1 Million Grappler, like, I don't think he had as great of a weekend as you know, everyone was hoping. And to mention, he had a really good weekend, but he is now marketed as like the best grappler. Now that Gordon's out, like, everyone's saying Nicky Rod's the man, right? Nicky Rod, I mean, he helped. He definitely helped, but did he save the team and all that? No, I don't think he did. I think if he would have been the savior and the best jiu-jitsu guy in the world, he would have submitted his guy in the finals. Now, the way the structure worked, I guess you could give it to B Team. B Team would necessarily be the winners based on the scorecards, but all of the controversy behind New Wave and B Team and going back and forth and the whole event being planned by Craig Jones, that stirs things up, man. You're going to get people talking. You're going to get a lot of people upset, a lot of people thinking it was rigged. And last year was a little bit different. You know, Nicky Rod did win the whole thing, but did he have an easy path to the finals? Absolutely. Absolutely. Not necessarily an easy path, but easier than others. And with that, like, I mean, people are going to start to speculate, and people are going to start to get upset. And, I mean, even though there's probably no value in that whatsoever, people are going to find something in there, okay? That's just how it works. And it's interesting. He ended up giving $1 million to two different teams. $1 million went to New Wave, $1 million went to B Team. That's a lot of millions flying around. I don't know where Moneyberg's at, but there's a lot of millions flying around with Craig Jones and his team. So hopefully they do a CJI 3. Hopefully it's coming. I don't know if they'll do the team thing again. They'll probably do a couple brackets or something along those lines. I don't know. But I like it, and I want it to continue. I think it grows the sport. I think if you were in Vegas from Thursday to Sunday evening, like, you probably had a hell of a time, okay? And, hopefully CJI continues. Hopefully it gets better and better. I know a lot of people were disappointed in this one, but it did get better over time. And hopefully they change up some stuff next time. Again, this is an experimental thing, and it's all for a good cause, so why not? And I think it's okay to have a little bit of fun in jiu-jitsu and a little bit of fun in martial arts, and no matter what, that, you can go out there and do good things for good people and still have fun doing it. And that's what it's about. They're opening mini gyms all over the world. doing great things. This is a nonprofit organization, so they're using that money hopefully wisely, and hopefully it's going to the right people and right causes out there for what they do. I want to see more of it. I wish there would be more than one a year. I know Craig Jones is probably going to disappear, go on a little vacation, get away for a while. But I hope it's not too long before they're planning the next one. And as a fan of jiu-jitsu, I'm all for it. And I don't care what people say. I don't care about the negativity. You can find negativity in everything, but it's about the positivity that you can find that's going to make the difference. And hopefully you're still with me. Hopefully you guys listen each and every week. That was just a brief little breakdown. I had a great time overall watching the entire event. I watched everything from start to finish, and it was an amazing time. My wife's not into jiu-jitsu. She doesn't train, but I even had her invested in some of the matchups. So they're doing the right thing. They're getting eyes on the sport, and I hope they continue it. Again, thank you to our partners over at Butterfly X, Spar Bar Soap. They're great companies. Please go check them out. Go follow them on Instagram. If you're listening to this, go find their Instagram page. Go find their website. Order something. Use code word Grapplers Talk on Spar Bar Soap. You'll get 10% off of your order. And also go to Butterfly X. Check them out. BFX Gear. Follow them on Instagram. Follow them on Facebook. They're constantly dropping new rash guards. They're restocking. They're doing the damn thing. Check them out. BFX Gear. Type in code word Grapplers Talk 10 and you'll get 10% off of your order over there. This is Dave. We'll be back with a couple guests in the next few weeks. Just wanted to touch base with the fans. Say what's up. Hopefully you guys had a good CJI weekend and Worlds weekend, and we'll be back next week with another episode. Again, thank you to the fans. Thank you to the followers of the show. This is Dave, and we are out.
This is Grapplers Talk.